Yo, hey, it's your boy H Hendrix, baby, and your main man who?
Money Duff Tribe, man. How y'all boys doing, man? Good night. Good night. How y'all going on? What's going on?
Good night, man. And it's another round of man. How to get your business taken in the right direction. We got my main man on here again, my brother from another mother. You know what I'm saying? A big brother that I ain't grew up with, but I had in my life. You feel me? The person that you know that wasn't really them. We got my main man Sherman Owens on the line here. As I said, if you haven't been tuning in our last couple episodes, he's one of those guys as a business entrepreneur. He's a mentor. He's a business consultant. He could be able to actually help you in a lot of ways, taking your business from the ground, from where it's at, to get it to be a multi-million-dollar business. He's had his hand in a lot of different businesses. Hope you got, of course, a couple of our previous episodes. There's been some really good information. And so tonight is you're in for a treat. You are in for a treat tonight, man. The third time, man. They say the third time's a charm. So if you missed the first two, then the third one is your fault. If you missed the next one, then I don't know what you're doing. But make sure that you catch up and you hear what's happening on the SG podcast tonight. And so I'm about to let the rings go. I'm about to let it go, man. Let them off the chain. Because once you get off, man, there ain't no stopping them, guys. So everybody, let's give it up. Put your hands
Good
together.
information.
Put your heart emojis together. Put your clap. Put your smiley faces all together in the comment line for my main man, my brother from another mother, Sherman Owens, man.
I definitely like to appreciate that, Howard, man. You always give me such a warm, definitely warm welcome, a grand introduction. So I definitely like to applaud you for that, as well as applaud you guys, as always, for allowing me the opportunity to get on your platform and drop some jewels with you guys, as well as the followers and the people that's out there in the public. So if like how he said, man, if you definitely we dropped. This is the third week back to back consecutive Wednesdays that we've been on here dropping Jews. So, like you said, if you guys didn't catch the first two videos, feel free to scroll back through, catch those replays, man, because they was very much informative. You get what I'm saying? And we're moving forward with that. I'm gonna be honest with you and tell you up front. The day we is running behind time, and I'm going to be the first to apologize for that. As me being the businessman, I'm normally more punctual and on base, but I had some family issues going on that's been kind of throwing me up and down. That's why you see I'm not even groomed or anything. I'm coming to you live, full in effect, but I promised my brother to deliver, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm a man of my word, so that's what I'm going to do. And in this video, I know last week, the last discussion that we talked on after we touched on all the different trade lines and stuff like that, how you asked me a big question, and I did touch on it, but mindset. So this week I thought that it would be very great to bring the people's, a step-by-step booklet on how they could get their mindset together, what steps and what things that you can start moving forth with that. But before I even get into that myself, I'm going to have to share my own personal story with the people so they can understand and identify with, each one teach one. Like I say, if it wasn't because of platforms like this, and had I never experienced certain things that I have personally experienced in my own personal life, I wouldn't be able to speak on it, because you can't speak on nothing that you have never personally been down. So with that being said, and no more further ado, for all of the followers that's out there that maybe don't know, or they might not really follow me, I did 13 years in prison. Prior to me doing the 13 years in prison, I was illiterate myself. I couldn't read and write. But as me being a man, I would never admit that, you know what I'm saying, until I got to prison. People that knew me, they never would really know, because, when you out there living that street life, you have those different masses that you use as your defense mechanisms to pull people off. But with no more further ado, while I was incarcerated, I began to start to strengthening my own self. And I started to take the first step that I did was I enrolled in the GED course while I was in prison, and I acquired my GED while I was there. That was the first breaking point in the mind shift for me, myself, because by me growing up in Miami in the 80s, I'll be the first to admit, I never really read a book prior to me going to prison. And less alone of me ever reading a book, I never even knew that there was books out there that identified with us as a culture until I went to prison and started reading the Donald Goins, the Iceberg Slims, and the Dolomites. Wow. You get what I'm saying? Which those was the pioneer first Black authors. You get me? But I emphasize that because, okay, what allowed me to start reading is because they had books that related to me. Yes, it was shoot 'em up, bang, bang, different girls prostituting, guys selling drugs, and this, that, and the third. I read it because that was my entertainment. 100%. But what I didn't understand behind that same entertainment was how I strengthened my vocabulary because I started reading more. You get what I'm saying?
I just wanted to interject for 1 second. We got the third host that comes in. He's a part of the SG podcast. Okay. He also wanted to take some time out today to be a part of our show. So I'm going to introduce one of my main mans, my other third co-host. We got H. Hendry, got Money Duff, we got Sherman, and we also got my main man, J-Wig. They call him J-Wig Live, man. We call him J-Wig Live. So he should be joining in. I just want to interject. He'll be in just 1 second, but go ahead, finish your story.
No problem. As a matter of fact, okay, he ain't came in. Okay, J-Wig done just dropped in. That's perfect introduction. So I'm gonna go ahead. What's going on, man? Let's get the intros out the way out the gate, so we can get the ball rolling. But everything good?
Yes, sir, man. Continue to preach the gospel, dude.
Okay.
I throw the offerings out, my dude. Yeah. Go ahead. Collection tray coming around. We're gonna have communion right after the word. It's all on you, baby.
Okay. So with no more further ado, you missed the little beginning part, but I was touching on the education and the mindset and how my mindset shifted in a nutshell of my own. Right. So while I was in prison, like I say, I'm reading these different books, but what was new to me was the experience. I don't know if each one of you fellas or those of you that's watching online, but if you ever really experienced learning something new that you never thought was possible for you, it tends to like make you feel like you're on top of the world. So it was like each word that I came across and words that I knew that I didn't know in the past, it made me excited and made me yearn to go learn a little bit more and a little bit more. Read a little bit more and a little bit more. And yes, I was reading some fictitious books, but that is what inspired me at the time. In the process of that, in the process of me being incarcerated, the first mindset shift that I read was the book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That's a good book.
And when I read that book, that's when me personally, I knew that I could be successful in life as a Black man without doing the things that I used to do that led me to prison. That was the first little light bulb that went off like, hold on, boy. I ain't got to be out here selling drugs and robbing. Like, I could be out here doing real estate. I could be out here as a 500 corporate business. And then with the internet and all these things, like, hold on, this is really possible. That was like the first time for me that I knew, it was a such thing as entrepreneur. I never knew it was a such thing as entrepreneur, less known as what we call it nowadays, solopreneur, because that's what a majority of us is now, and that's the new fad. But I never even knew what an entrepreneur was. The only thing I knew was a hustler. You worked a 9-to-5 job for real. But moving forward with that, by me opening up that first book of Robert Kiyosaki and that mindset, I came across my next inspiring author was Brian Tracy. And the first book I read from Brian Tracy was Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Now remember, I'm in prison while I'm reading these books and I'm digesting all of these things because all of this is unfamiliar territory for me, you know? And that was the first time where I understood, like, hey, man, I might need a little counseling for some of the things in the way that we process, because that's when I really understood that we only know what we was taught to believe. You get me? And that's when that light bulb and that shifted, like, hold on. We was taught to believe, go to school, get you a good education. Once you get your education, find you a good job. Hopefully your job got some benefits. You got you a 401k plan. You get married, have a few kids. You get a little credit. You know, you shop wisely with your credit. You know what I'm saying? And that was like the American dream. You might, if you had a good paying job at that time, then maybe you could vacation a little bit here and there. That was generally the mindset that we was taught. But now that I read those books, I'm learning, like, hold on. I could get me a good education, yes, but I could also be a entrepreneur, and I could get me a little landscaping business, and I could use my credit to get me this landscaping business. And it's possible because I'm watching a 12-year-old child writing this book, explaining this to me as a grown man. It just made sense. You get me? I'm learning that, like, even a small game of Monopoly that teaches us how, hey, man, you get one little property over here, you get you another little property over here. Now you get your 4 properties and you get you a duplex. And now, you know, I'm getting out of this rat race. I'm beginning to understand these things now. I'm beginning to understand it, just like it's 4 of us on this screen right now. In life, you have 4 different brackets. You got the B's, the I's, the E's, and the S's. You get me? So, and for those of you that don't know, you got the E, which stands for employee. You got the S that stands for basically solopreneur. You're an entrepreneur, but you basically work on your own. You know, so yes, you going into the business arena a little bit, but you let that guy, like I say, you cutting grass, you might be washing some cars, you might be that woman that does the hair, a little tax preparer, something like that, but you your own boss. And you basically run your business yourself. You don't need a whole lot of employees to run your business, but you just got up out of that employee mindset thing. So then you got the B's, which is the big 500 corporate America, you know, corporations, you know, and the 500 employees, you know, that type of mindset. And believe it or not, it's a mindset shift for each one of those brackets. And then you got the I, which is the big time boys, which is the investors. You know what I'm saying? Those the real movers and shakers. So in each one of those brackets, it's a mindset. And that's when I began to understand those things like that. And
so sure, man, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Just posted in the chat. One of the things is saying that you gave a little bit of your story, you know, coming from childhood, going to prison, and then transitioning from street business more to more corporate style, or more, you know, like more legitimate business. And so a lot of times what happens is that, say, people that come from the streets, or people that dealt drugs, a lot of stuff, only know that as their thing. How did the street mentality transition into more business for you? How did that help you? Like, how did you use some of what you knew in the streets to help you out in business?
Honestly, you know, like I say, by me being in prison for quite some time, I read so many different articles, but it's funny that you say that, because I'm gonna give the people some Jews that they can really research of what I'm about to say. It was Forbes did an interview with like Jay-Z, like Puff Daddy Combs, things like that. And they did a study, and they compared those guys with some top 500 Wall Street guys, right? And they compared the difference. And it was like, by us actually coming from the streets, our hustle and the way that we do things, how we got that grind, that stay up all night, all day, and on the block, or however it was that you was doing your thing. But we surpassed the Fortune 500 entrepreneurs because of our hunger and our hustle, our drive. It thrives way more than them. They actually did a whole study on it. I can't, quote it the way that they did at that time. But for me, it was always easy, I guess, in a sense for me, because I grew up around business by my father, having different businesses and things like that. But to elaborate on the mindset shift, it just made more sense in a nutshell, bro. It was like,
I'm sure.
I'm risking my life. Like when I was in the streets, it's like literally I'm risking my life. Like I'm playing Russian roulette each and every day of my life for the funds that I was allocated with at that time, right? And by me being in prison, and I'm reading these books on people they're like, they're not risking their lives, but their lives is much more successful than I am.
Mm.
So it just was like, okay. And the way Robert Kiyosaki explains it all, like I say, he explains it to where a 12 or a 13-year-old could understand. So by me being a grown man, yes, I never experienced the business side of things the way he was explaining it. And like I never had that type of business. I never had this type of business. I never was in like real estate. I never was in construction. I never was in the stocks and bonds or anything. But he explains it all to where a 12 or 13-year-old could understand. So by me being a grown man, it just was that much clearer for me. And by me already having that entrepreneur, what a lot of people don't understand is, yes, even if you're in the streets, you still an entrepreneur. You just using some of the wrong tools to get what you're trying to get, and you don't know any better. You only know what your environment has shown you. So once you get your mindset out of that environment, it's really when that awakening becomes.
100%. Okay.
You follow me?
Thank you so much.
All right. Anybody in the fan base, if you have any questions, you go welcome to ask. We put it in the chat so Sherman could answer, or either one of us on the SVG team will answer it for you. So,
So
stay
Sherman, I got a
engaged
question,
and active,
sir.
and I always
Shoot, my brother.
Yeah, so like, you basically starting off with the origin, like you found yourself in prison or whatnot, and now you're in an environment where you cannot escape. You know what I'm saying? Even if you wanted to, escaping is like risking your life, based off guards, and trying to escape the mentality that you was in the streets could also risk your life because you got to protect yourself while you're in prison. I'm not sure how prison is, you know what I'm saying? I only know my prison knowledge from movies or whatnot, so I'm thinking it's kind of dangerous or whatnot, you feel me? But at the same time, you came in you said that not knowing how to write, not knowing how to read, but you came out understanding the language of business. How did that happen? Like what book was it that helped you understand how to get a LLC, and how to register your hustle as a business, and how to manipulate the money as a business to turn into credit to get more? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what helped you understand that? Which book was that?
Okay, like I say, the very first book that opened up my eyes was Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
After Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I end up buying his whole collection. So
That's what it is.
So he got the Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that opened up that's what like gave me the first eye opener, right? But then right behind Rich Dad Poor Dad, he has the cash flow quadrant, right? Then right behind the cash flow quadrant, he has the financial IQ. You get me?
Right.
Right behind the financial IQ, he has own your own corporation. So like for real, like honestly, like each and every step of me going along the way, Robert Kiyosaki has a whole platform. Like he even has his own board game that teaches you how to get out of the rat race. So those was my first tools. Like he got the ABCs to real estate. And yes, he don't write all of his books that's up under his platform. He has other authors that come in and help, co-author and write books alongside of him. But
That he just
his
signed off.
platform in itself was my school. Like that was my university. You get me? And once I started there, it's like I didn't understand like algorithm and stuff like that. And for those of you that don't know, like once you go to researching certain things on the internet, it just automatically go to feeding you other information that ties along to it. And I remind you, I'm in prison at this time. So luckily for me, my mom sent me 10 different books every month. I did 13 years in prison. So every month I got no less than 10 books. You get me? So like you could imagine like in a 10, 13 years, well, I'm gonna say in the last 10 years I read, the first 3 years or so, I was still young, dumb, and wild and out. I wasn't really even reading nothing or nothing like that at that time. But the last 10 years of my 13 years is really when I broke down into my education. So a part of that was, like I say, I read every book that Robert Kiyosaki himself as an author has. Then I got into the Brian Tracy. Then I got into the Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. You get what I'm saying? Then I started getting into the Zig Ziglars. Then I started getting into the Les Browns. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, and if those of you that don't know, I'm telling you, like, those are mindset from the Robert Kiyosaki's, the Rich Dad Poor Dads, and then I'm crossing over into the motivational of it, like the real mindset. Because like Les Brown is a motivational speaker from born and raised in the projects in Miami on a bandit floor. But he's one of the top sought out motivational speakers that a lot of people don't know about. So that's when I knew that like it was possible, because this guy is from the exact same background that I'm from, Liberty City. You know what I'm saying? He's from every environment, everything that I personally experienced, he experienced. And I knew, like, hold on, this man is a governor. This man, I think he was a governor of mayor in Ohio. This man was a public speaker on the #1 talk show for years. He's a motivational speaker. I mean, he got his own educational platform. This is a black icon that looks just like me and you, and is exactly from the exact same place that me and you is from, and he did it. So it's like, okay, now I got this guy over here showing me that it's possible, that I don't have to do a lot of the same things that I used to do that led me in prison. And now I got this person over here that's showing me that you could do it as well. Now I'm understanding, like, hold on. You mean to tell me that I could get out of prison, first time in my life, I could believe that I could come home from after doing 13 years in prison, and I could get a job and work on this job, because now my mindset shifted, and Robert Kiyosaki has showed me what a profit and loss statement is, and how to balance out, my income, and how to put together these platforms, and how to build me out a portfolio. He taught me that, hey, if I'm already wearing Nike, why not take $25 out of my check that I'm going to get and invest that $25 into Nike stock, and in 10, 15 years from now, I could be successful. I never even knew anything about none of that I just said. So how could I know that I could be successful?
Right.
I hear you.
No, I'm listening. I say you're right.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know anything about that. So how could I possibly know that it could be successful? The only thing I know is word, streets, and there's a lot of different avenues when I say street, and I don't want to elaborate too far, too deep into it, but that's all
Yeah,
I
don't get
knew,
case.
you know? So
Yeah.
I began to understand that when my parents used to tell me, like, man, Sherm, you could try this and try that, like, I began to understand, like, hey, man, it is possible. Excuse me. I'm beginning to see, like, hold on. So I can do this. I can get me a pressure washing business and get me a few flyers and put on this T-shirt and promote my business, especially with social media and how everything is broke down now. Like, I never knew any of that was possible. So that's when it was easy for me to make that conscious decision. Someone was saying something?
Sherm, you can hear me?
Yes.
It's a question in the audience. What was the author of the book that called Change Your Thoughts?
Brian Tracy, change your thinking, change your life.
Change Your Life.
You mean like my thought?
Okay.
You mean yeah, that was the first book that really like changed my thought. You got a real delay.
Yes, I guess that's it.
Can one of y'all you read the comments, Howard?
For sure. It was a comment in the thing that said, who was the author of the Change Your Thinking, Change Your Thoughts?
Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. It's Brian Tracy.
Yeah, Brian Tracy. Okay, that was what the question was.
Okay, I wanted to make sure we.
I know that the main thing here is, and we're going to get a glimpse into the book of mentality, the actual thing of something that you read and that you have written inside your link that you share with everybody. And a lot of people, I know they fail in terms of mentalities because a lot of people want to start things, but they never take the actions to complete it. And the job behind it is really just a mentality. And I'm just really glad that we touching on mentality here. That's actually, I think, going to help encourage a lot of people that have great creative ideas, but yet to start those ideas to move forward and take successfulness into it. And one of the things I kind of learned from your story is that you told me you start self businesses. You start like the pavement company. You got into like trucking. You got into like some asphalt. You got into like a couple other things. And so I know in order to juggle several different businesses, it all comes down to mentality. So I'm just interested in seeing the reading that we're going to get into a little later.
Okay. So moving forward, if that's what you're interested in, you could go ahead if you would like, and we could bring that up on the screen now.
All right. All right, and once again we open to many questions. Go ahead and post it in because we're live here on Facebook, on the Sport and Goods podcast page. We're live on the YouTube. We're live on the Twitter. So if anybody want to tune in, like, share, comment, make sure you go ahead and put that on while we go ahead and open this up. All right, can you see it good, fellas?
I can.
Okay,
yes,
go ahead.
And for those of y'all that don't know, that's my personal mindset ebook. You can get it in the free and the link that we will have in the description below. There will be a link that you guys could get this ebook totally for free as my way of giving back to you guys, Howard, and the Sport and Goods podcast, as well as my token of appreciation to all of the followers and the viewers. I want to help each and every person to get their mindset together because I know from firsthand how much is very much needed. So that's just my token of appreciation. And as you see, it says success mindset. I'm learn how to nurture your mindset to become an unstoppable entrepreneur. All copyrights and everything is reserved for me. I really won't touch into all of that right now because we is on a time limit. So let's get right into, just go past the introduction and go into the step one and believe in yourself, Hal. Okay, so
Leave
step
yourself
one,
out. Leave-
you want to read, or you want me to read? How you want to do it? It's totally up to you.
You can read.
Okay. Being successful is as much about self-confidence as it is about anything else. People who constantly doubt themselves often can't reach their goals because their negative thoughts, acts, and subordinates preventing them from doing their things they want to do. That's why the first step of success mindset is believing in yourself, just like we touched on earlier. Dealing with the naysayers and the self-doubt. Now, pause right there for a second, Howard. I want to touch on something about that, and I want to elaborate on the dealing with the naysayers and the self-doubters. Me
Most of
personally,
them people gonna be your family and friends.
I just wanted to put it out there like as a disclaimer, like them going like, and I'm gonna tell you something that I learned, and I'm not going to touch on it too much. I don't want to stay here too much, but I just have to say this now because it's something that I truly learned the hard way. Stop thinking the people that you think is going to be there for you are the ones that is there for you, because in life, the ones that you think is going to help push you, they're not. They're not going to help. The ones that you really think, I don't care if it's your mother, your brother, your sister, your father, your own kids. Get out of that. You have to find people that mindset is along the mindset of you. It's going to save you a whole lot of bumps, trial, and error. I just wanted to put that out there as a quick disclaimer. Please get out of that. Now, back to the book though. When you set goals, you may find that people in your life express doubts or dismiss your goals as unreasonable or unattainable. You may also hear a little voice in your head that says you can't do what you want to do. If you want to succeed, you've got to find a way to silence both the naysayers in your life and your negative inner critics.
Wow. Okay.
And trust me, like I say, even as I was writing this book, I'm telling you from what I've personally been through. Like, so that's what I'm pulling from when I'm dropping these jewels. Listening to either can sabotage your best effort and ensure you don't achieve success. With the naysayers, you've got three options. One, ignore them and let their negativity roll off your back. Two, talk to them and convince them not to be negative, because that negative thought that they're bringing into your energy is what's holding you back. You get what I'm saying? Even though they might, like if you ever present it to someone, they say, hey, I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that. Well, whatever it is that you're trying to do, and a person tell you that it's not possible, please understand that they're not telling you that it's not possible for you. They just telling you that it's not possible for them. And by it not being possible for them and they not believing that it's possible for them is why they're telling you that it's not possible for you. And I had to learn that for myself after me going through and reading, like I say, the different books, like I say, the 48 Laws of Power. I mean, it's so many books that I done personally read that gave me the steps, but that's how I learned where it comes from. I see you dropping that jewel up there. Now, hey, I wanna touch on that because
I was looking for that part down for you, but I couldn't find it. So I had that one tucked tight. I have a couple things tucked tight. I can't pull it out, but I got a couple things tucked tight. Everybody, you know, that's really business oriented and looking to be millionaires, but you just got the mindset and the time for it. But
I had to stand up for this one, Money Man. Hey, Money Man, I had to really stand up for this one. Robert Greene. Robert Greene is a brilliant author. Listen to me closely when I say this. Robert Greene is a brilliant author. 48 Laws of Power. Pause for a second, Howard. This the book that he just pulled up. The Art of Seduction. All of those books.
3 times.
I'm going to say this, though. They're brilliant books. Money Man, hear me. But don't get too caught up in Robert Greene, because Robert Greene, he's about conqueror, right? So a lot of his techniques is backstab and it's not, put it like this, in a nutshell, be careful of the karma that comes behind the teachings of Robert Greene. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
He's going to give you some good ideas. He's going to give you some good tactics. Take in the good and throw away the bad, because some of the things that Robert Greene going to install in you is going to give you some bad karma.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to say with that. But it is an author that you have to read. I cannot downplay Robert Greene. Every book that Robert Greene has, I read. Trust me. If you trying to become successful in life, you have to read it's just like you walking up steps in life. If you trying to get up some steps from the first floor to the second floor, yes, the quickest way is to take the elevator. But if you really want to master the steps, you have to cross Robert Greene's path. So I'm not downing him. I'm not knocking him. I'm just telling you to be weary of the information. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But
yes, sir.
Like, trust me, bro. When I say you gotta read Eric Worre. Eric Worre is for those. He's that author that if those of you that's in MLM, you in multi-level marketing, that's how I began to understand too. Once I came home, that was one of my biggest things, multi-level marketing, because that is what taught me like the hands-on hand. Because remember, I was that street guy. So yes, I read 100 books in the course of me being in prison as to becoming the entrepreneur, but I never really was that entrepreneur. You know, even though I was a street hustler, and a street hustler and an entrepreneur, we have some of the same traits. We have some of the same characteristics. So it was easy for me to identify, but I never walked the walk. So when I first came home from prison and I got into multi-level marketing, that is what gave me the step-by-step tools. And that's how I learned the systems, you know, on a one-on-one, hands-on basis. You know, and that's when I ran across Eric Worre. So I have to throw that out there, because those are the platforms, those are the steps that you're going to need to get to wherever it is, you know, that you're trying to go in life. If I'm not mistaken, one of y'all hold the audience for a second. I'm keep the book up, Howard, but just hold the audience for a second. I'm gonna try to share a screen with you, because I did write out, as I think about it, I did write out a list of all of the top authors that I do recommend
Sure.
to people. If I can find it right quick, I'm trying to
actually like to delve deep into this. One of the things, like actually being on this particular point, which is I think is pretty good. It brings up like an old saying. I know a lot of people probably heard these things, is that birds of a feather flock together. Or say, for example, your network is your net worth, or who you're around kind of determines where your path to success kind of around. And one of the things that's avoiding, and I found it actually I'll take troublesome, or say in a lot of circles, is that you try to bring everybody along for your journey. A lot of times you try to bring like your brother, you probably bring your sister, you try to bring your little cousin. You try to be like, oh man, I need my little friend from second grade to be with me. like, and I know sometimes maybe even Jay Wig or say Travis or other things. Like, have you guys experienced any of this? Like, as far as like businesses or different things that you guys have been a part where the people that you're around you was negative, it kind of held you back from like actually succeeding where you wanted to go?
Well, how I look at that, every circle is gonna be like you're gonna be pulling tendons on everything. If you're trying to work something to be great, you're always gonna be stretching it out. You're always gonna be working. So you're always gonna have a toggle back and forth in whatever business you do, because it's not always gonna just do this. Like just like the stocks, everything does this. Everything has a dipping point. So my answer to your question is yes. I've been through it, but my mindset on that part is the business can't stop because we have a disagreement. It's either you buy all the way in or you buy out. That's how I look at business. You know, you buy in or you buy out.
For sure. All right. What's up, Sherm? What you gonna say?
I couldn't find my list that I was looking for in my drive right quick because I got so much different stuff. But I would like to thank you for the tip that you brought in. Is because on the mindset, because I personally been through it. You know, I'm a person, I know my strengths just as well as I know my weaknesses. And one of my biggest mistakes that I personally experienced in life was that one of the first females that I encountered, she had the qualifications that I was looking for as far as my weaknesses. And I knew that firsthand. So I basically set myself up, not consciously knowing it at the time, but now as I look back at it, and that's how that's why I say I thank you for bringing it up, because it triggered me. And I set myself up because I felt like, okay, in order for me to be successful, I needed this person because there was more detailed than I was. Like, okay, I'm more the visionary. So I come up with the plan and I could put it all into, understanding, but I might not put it all into the right perspectives in a sense. Like I'm not that, like before I learned my computer skills and stuff like that, like that was unfamiliar territory to me. So I knew that she had the qualifications to do certain things that I knew I needed to run my business that I did not know. And I based my business around my relationship. So when my relationship failed, my business also failed because the keys that I needed to be successful that I didn't know, I found the person that they had it, but imagine me trying to install something into you that you don't even believe in yourself. Like, not saying that you don't believe in yourself, but I'm an entrepreneur. So if I'm trying to scroll for business, but you're an employee mindset, yes, what I need to run my business, you could go out and do for your job each and every day, but you can't do it for yourself because you're not the entrepreneur. And I'm trying to bring the entrepreneur side, install the entrepreneur side in you. And I didn't understand that. That's why we kept bumping heads. And it's not so much that I felt as though I needed her to be successful. And in order for our relationship to work, I needed you to do certain things. And just like in her mindset, she needed me to do certain things, but it never worked. The relationship and the business never worked because we could never see eye to eye. Like, we need each other. We together for convenience or for our own personal wants or needs, not really, you know what I'm saying, to align ourselves in a real relationship, like in a law. And what I had to learn also with that is, believe it or not, a relationship, a marriage and a business coincide. If your marriage is unsuccessful, your business is going to be unsuccessful. If your business is successful, then 9 times out of 10, your marriage is going to be successful, because the same tools that it takes to be successful in a marriage, it takes to be successful in a business. It's just different systems that you use. And that was a biggest setback that me personally, I have made. So I would like to definitely throw that out there as a jewel.
Oh, that's a gem. Thank you for that, man. That was some good information.
And I also would like to share, and I'm not saying none of this to throw no shame or no salt, but even recently in the past, I do credit. So I do personal credit and business credit. And a few years ago, I stepped to my brothers and my sisters and I approached them about what it is that I do. And they never, and I had to understand that the mindset, they wasn't mature enough at that time. But at the time when I presented the opportunity to them, they denied the opportunity. But a few years later, one of their friends presented them with the exact same opportunity that I had previously introduced them to, that they denied with me and accepted with them. And I felt salty about it. But I was mature enough to understand that it wasn't that they chose to join them versus join me. It was more or less when I presented it to them.
They thought for you, was it capable from you than per se them?
Yes, you get what I'm saying. And I had to, you have to be mature enough to understand, okay, when I'm talking business to a 22-year-old that's fresh out of high school now versus a 26-year-old that has a child. In those 4 years or those 5 years that they even experienced life, their mindset done shift. So in the beginning, when I first approached them, that's why they denied me, because their mindset, well, no, they still in the hanging out and enjoying life. They're not worrying about no credit at that time. They're not worrying about financing a car. Not saying that it's something that you're supposed to be doing, because at that age is when you can make a few mistakes in life and you can bounce back. But that's when you really need to be making the mistakes, and you're not, because your mindset not even is there. You get what I'm saying? And, with moving forward along with that. But yeah, I personally experienced that, like I say, on both levels. So then that's the reason why I did drop the mindset book. You get what I'm saying? To share with the people how to make that shift in that mindset.
Wow, 100%. Okay. And then I know we're moving into the next third part of us, and
avoiding their, and then with number 3, like I said, and I'm gonna back up for step 2. No, I'm gonna back up for all 3. So the first thing is you could avoid the naysayers altogether, and you have 3 options. 1, you could ignore them and let their negativity roll off your back. You could talk to them and convince them not to be negative and just express to them and how it affects you. Or 3, you can avoid their company altogether. The right choice may vary from person to person. Sometimes friends and family don't realize they're being negative. When that's the case, a simple, hey, I appreciate it if you find a way to be positive about my goals might do the trick. Some people might be unwilling or unable to grab the negativity. When it's that case, you have to decide if you can ignore it or if you're better off avoiding their company. Choose the options that's right for you in each and every case. Avoiding the inner critics is more challenging because you carry it around with you. A good option is to reframe the negativity and the image that instead of talking to yourself, you're talking to a dear friend. You wouldn't be rude or insensitive to a friend, so don't treat yourself that way either. Identifying the strengths. Believing in yourself is easier when you recognize your strengths. We've all got things we do well, so why not celebrate them? You can cultivate a mindset of self-belief by making a list of the things you do best. You are a great salesperson, an innovator, a team builder. Write down your strongest traits and abilities and then turn them into affirmations. When you're heading into a meeting or negotiation or planning session, read the list and remind yourself remind yourself that you're a terrific negotiator or a strong speaker. It'll put a spring in your step and help you maintain positive outlook. Overcoming fears and negative thoughts. One of you guys saying something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. The flip side of acknowledging your strengths is looking at your fears and negative thoughts and finding ways to overcome them. We're all afraid of something. What sets us apart is how we handle those fears. With negative thoughts, try reframing them as things you would say to a friend. You can even write out your negative thoughts and then rewrite them with a positive spin. Fears are a little trickier. You're going to need to face them. Look for ways to give yourself the tools you need to overcome your fears. For example, someone with a fear of public speaking might join Toastmakers to get criticals and encouragements from fellow members. So that's just like how I was saying when I first came home and I joined multi-level marketing. You get what I'm saying? And the multi-level marketing platform, that is how I began to, get over my fears, speaking in the front of people and things like that. Even like on here right now. And to be honest with you, I'll be the first to admit, because I'm very straightforward, that's why I might pause sometime and stumble over my words. And that's why I'm doing what I do on social media, because the more we do what we're doing, the better we're getting. So this is allowing us to overcome some of the same fears that I jotted down in the book. And I'm just throwing out one of my own to let you know that you're not the first and the only one that's going to be able to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I could jump in if you want me to jump in too.
No. I'm very, like I say, I like to share with the people, because in order for us to do what it is that we're doing, we all have a fear. Mm-hmm. So I like to share with the people myself. Like if I take my mask off and I'm able to take my mask off and show you, like even as me right now, like I ain't getting no haircut this week, no nothing, but I'm on here raw and uncut. I'm able to be 100%, unique with me, because it's like I'm authentic. I'm me. You get what I'm saying? So by me being me, that is what encouraged the people that, hey, it's okay for you to be you.
It's good.
You get me? So that's why I throw that out there. But getting back to the book, building a business plan. Sometimes people fail due to a lack of planning. You'll have a better chance of achieving your goals if you lay out a concrete plan for achieving them. Writing a business plan takes time and effort. You'll need to think about specific goals and break them down into actionable steps. Decide what resources you need.
I'm sorry, I coughed. Sorry about that. Go
Okay,
ahead.
no, you could. I'm just making sure. I know we be delayed, so I don't want to, write out a business plan takes time and effort. You need to think about your specific goals and break them down into actionable steps. Decide what resources you would need and how you plan to get them, and create immediate, short-term, and long-term goals. The benefit of writing a business plan is the benefit of writing a business plan is that it will help you clarify your goals, make it easier to tell if you've got a goal that's too ambitious or not ambitious enough, help you fine-tune your ideas, serve as a template for approaching investors, partners, and others to talk about your business. It might be a lot of work, but the time you spend on your business plan will help you achieve your success mindset. Getting inspiration from successful people. When you're admiring for a lofty goal, it's easier to get discouraged. It's also easy to look at other successful people and tell yourself that you can't do what they did, or that they were never where you are. The truth is, everybody struggles in some way. You can find inspiration by seeking out stories about successful people who overcame negative thinking or other obstacles. One example is the novelist Stephen King. One of his earliest novels, Carrier, was rejected by more than 30 publishers before it was finally accepted. If he'd given up, he wouldn't be one of the most famous and successful authors in the world. Did you know that Bill Gates had a failed company before he started Microsoft, and that Walt Disney was fired by the Kansas City Stars because his editor said he lacked imagination and had no good ideas? The point here is that if you let the naysayers hold you back, you won't be successful. The only way to succeed is to believe in yourself. That takes care of step one. And in the next chapter, we'll talk about how to take your ideas and keep reading to learn more. How much more time you want to go into that? How do we have time?
What I want to do is just actually leave this particular session on, basically where we left off at the chapter 1. I want to leave a little teaser for the people because I want to make sure that they go out and read the book themselves.
And we're not giving them too much to take home, and then they really not digesting.
We can talk all night, but it's better that they get the opportunity to do it themselves, man. You have to.
Yeah, that's why I paused there to ask. You
want to be successful. That's all it is. The courage to want to do it yourself.
Okay, great.
And so, just for the last couple minutes we have, I just want to deal with a few questions. Maybe some things that it'll just be more like a panel discussion amongst people, and the guys that are here. And a lot of times I've seen Money Duffel flourish. I've seen Wig flourish in some businesses, different things like that. And one of the lack is that a lot of people is that I realize that preparation is the key towards success. And let me just stop this for 1 second. If y'all just give me a second here. Oh, we lost him. Oh, there you go.
No, yeah, I seen Wig say, "Can we hear him?" I can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you. Oh, you good at lip reading. I wasn't even saying that.
Yeah, because I messed around and I seen him hit the chat. So when I hit the chat, that's how I messed around and hit the X, and I left and had to come back out. But I seen him drop in the chat. Could we hear him?
Oh, okay.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you now.
God damn it! I wonder why nobody ain't responding to shit I'm saying. God damn. But no, I was.
Yeah, that happened to be in
So,
So go ahead, Wade. Go ahead.
I wanted to piggyback off that last thing you said. So like you was like Walt Disney was told that he's not creative enough
Yeah,
to do so. And he was like, ignore the naysayers. But what if Walt Disney wasn't creative enough and him being rejected with that details helped them go back in the lab and figure out what would make him more creative and which what made Walt Disney. Because
of course.
say for instance, we have goats like Michael Jordan, where he believed that he was supposed to be as a top basketball player in his school as a freshman, but his coach said, "Hey, you just not ready yet." And he went in the lab and went into extra work, and now he's considered, in majority essence, the GOAT of basketball.
Of
So
course.
sometimes naysayers could fuel that drive to make you great into what you're trying to be. So should you always ignore naysayers, or sometimes should you dig in and see what the naysayer is talking about?
Honestly speaking, and I can only say this from my personal self, right?
All right.
What I've learned is that all of the people that ever told me what I can't do, I did anyway, right? Because I believe that it was possible. No matter whether you told me that I can't do it or not, I always knew that I could do it. Like, okay, fun, I'm gonna give you a real life example. When I was in prison, right, I knew that I was gonna have a construction company, right? And at the time, I knew little construction because from my stepfather as being a subcontractor, but I didn't have a specialized trade in construction, okay? Once I came home from prison, I'm already an entrepreneur and I know that I'm getting into construction, right? My second job prior to me coming home from prison, I got on at Atlantic Southern Paving, and that's how I got into the paving aspect, right? I worked there for that company for 3 years. A lot of people around me, they told me because of the entrepreneur side, like, Sherman, you can't do this on your own. You understand what I'm saying? As far as the business, but they don't understand the asphalt. They don't understand the seal coat. They don't understand the striping. So you don't understand the magnetics of it, but you just telling me what I can't do as it being possible. But back to me, I was in prison, I already saw this. I seen myself driving big dump trucks. I never drove a dump truck before, but I had the dreams of me doing this, and I knew it was possible for myself. So no matter what no one else ever said, I still knew it was possible. I went through a lot of ups and downs in my personal life. Like, it was times where I'm always striving for this. I'm always striving for better. I'm always trying to start this, and I'm always doing that if this doesn't work or that doesn't work. And that's probably why I done did a lot of different things. But when the opportunity presented itself, I graciously accepted. And I emphasized that and I paused on that because when you plan to be successful, it's going to be a lot of obstacles that comes with that even not just the naysayers, but the obstacles of just life in itself, Murphy's Law of what we like to call it, is going to happen. So sometimes when that happens to us in ourselves, that is what holds us back from doing a lot of things that we're trying to do. But when you know that is possible, and like, you get knocked down, but you get back up and you dust yourself off and you try it again, the things that you set off to do is going to happen, right? And I'm going to have to stand up for this because I understand that for me, when those things happen, it knocked me off of my square and it knocked me off of my game. But by me dusting myself off and I kept trying, right? Eventually it happened, right? And I'm going to use my paving company. I saw me running this company in prison, didn't know anything about it, never even ran a real business before in my life. But I saw myself doing it. I saw myself behind that desk. So once I saw it, I put it in my heart as a conscience, and that's what gave me that fire and desire to keep going in them days when I didn't want to. That's what gave me that motivation to keep going when those days when I was falling, right? But once I acquired it, I wasn't mature enough at that time to how would I really
To
just
execute
blow
the
it out of
plan
the
that you,
palm, right? Even though, yes, I had 3 different trucks, I had dump trailers, and I was running a real business. I had the websites, I had the bank accounts, I had the workers, I had the insurance, I had all of the things that it took to run a real business. So yes, I was a real business, and yes, I was able to pay, and live my life, but I really wasn't. I didn't hit that $100,000 platform that I had sought out to hit in the first year, right? But I knew it was possible. And then when I lost my business, it put me into a dark place.
Mm-hmm.
But I understood in that dark place how, hey man, I still acquired what I sought out to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And God took it away from me because sometimes in life, our plans for us, our life might not necessarily align with the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
And when our own plans don't align with the Creator is going to give you whatever your heart desires. So whatever it is that you sought out to be in life, the Creator is going to help you to get it. But if it's not aligned with Him, He's going to take it from you, but He gave it to you to give you the strength to know that it's possible, but He took it from you to know that that is not what He wanted you to do. You get what I'm saying? And your plans and His plans wasn't aligned together, so He stripped you from it. And I had to learn that the hard way through trial and error. And that's why I'm doing what I do now. And I pour my heart and my soul out into the platforms of speaking because I know now that that's what the Creator allowed me to do. And that's why I speak so like with so much passion, because it's like I don't talk about nothing that I ain't personally been through. You get what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
And any aspect of my thought, even my thought pattern, it comes from everything that I have been through. You get what I'm saying? And that's where I speak from. So, and with that being said, I wanted to touch on, like I was touching on earlier, like one of my insecurities is, I would say this. Like, you see how we engage, how we speaking, and it's 4 of us on the platform now, and I could speak behind the camera easily. I don't have that fright, I would say, in a sense. But when I speak like one-on-one on a camera, like to myself, I can't do that. It's just like it's something about it where like I can speak, long as I'm engaging with a person, I'm fine. But with just me speaking to the camera in itself is where I have problems at. So that's one of my things. And I always like to throw it out there because I'm very transparent.
100%. And so that was a really good question from you, Wig. Just to bring it in, because I think it's actually like sometimes it's a thin line between constructive and destructive criticism, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think it depends on the mentality of a person that can be able to take whatever somebody says and use it for the good of themselves. But if
Yeah.
somebody you can't do it, then you be like, oh, I'm gonna show them that I can't do it. Or somebody say, oh yeah, I like your information, but if you tweak it this way, some people be like, oh man, how you gonna tell me how to tweak my stuff? And I think that we have to make whatever information to be a fueler towards success. And I think that's something that I'm working on too, like taking information, like kind of make it a fuel toward that. Because everybody don't want to see you be successful, but everybody admire the success that you receive once you get there. They're like,
Yeah,
I
they
wish I
definitely want the blessings.
absolutely 100%. 100%. And just before we round out, we got a couple more minutes. I'll leave the floor to Money Duff to see if he had any questions or any comments.
No, I don't have any questions. Good job again tonight, man. You dropped jewels like as always. You know, I'm here. You know, I'm listening, and you know, some of your stories. I'm not gonna say fully relatable. I've never been to prison. You know, I don't want to go to prison, but you know, I had some of the you know, drop offs on trying out businesses and doing things my way. In 2012 to 14, I started a whole sneaker resale. You know, I thought it was for me, but you know, I don't love shoes as much as I thought I did. So you know, that fell off in the trenches. But it is what it is. You know, I'm moving again, trying to make different avenues, which I did. And you know, I currently sell sex toys. I know y'all don't hear a lot of males on that, but it's actually a really functional business. I bet I don't even touch it really. It's on Shopify. You know, I don't really interact with people that much anyway, unless they personally know me and want me to, you know, or on Facebook, because I have a store on Facebook. But other than that, you know, a lot of businesses these days, I don't really look to want to be hands-on. Like I don't want to be, you know, I don't mind. I wish I could show y'all, but yeah, I'm gonna
Never cease to the surprises.
yeah,
Of course, that's what we're here for.
Never cease, man. Never cease to surprise.
I got my business printer right here. You know, my little label printer. My label's over here. You know, I work my own shop. You know, I don't really have to go through the post office. Well, I do gotta go through the post office, but you know, I don't really have to do the hard base work. And, you know, I'm the warehouse, the inventory, and the distribution. I do it all, and it's relatively easy, man. It's relatively easy if you really put your mind to it.
All right.
And you know, I want to leave the people with two things to say this first and foremost, so they can know. First and foremost, from me, I haven't worked a job in over 7 years. So I want to definitely throw that out there as a disclaimer. So they, you know, sometimes people are like, well, okay, well, who is this guy that's just giving us this information, and what make us want to inspire him? You know, what conditions he have? Yes, I haven't worked a 9 to 5. I haven't get up to an alarm clock at a specific time in over 7 years. I don't know what that lifestyle is like. I don't knock it, but I love my freedom. I love my dependency on me. I mean, my income is only based on me. You know, my life worth is only based on me. But I want to definitely leave the people with this also. From Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. They was doing an interview with Thomas Edison when it was talking about creating electricity. I mean, Thomas Edison was talking about creating the electricity, right? And they say how he failed over 10,000 times before he ever created his product, right? And in the interview, he told the people that had he never invented the light bulb when he was trying to do it, he would never been doing the interview with them at that time, because he would have still been in the lab minding his business. So I like to leave everyone with that jewel, that I don't care if it's 20 minutes a day, man, 30 minutes a day, once you wind down, if it's in the middle of the night, whatever, however. But spend 20 minutes a day, pick you up a book, or just get your mindset together. Look at that vision board. Start to, okay, in order for you to create something, you have to first think about it. When you think about it long enough, you could see it. Once you envision it, now you could create it.
Nice. All right, and so that's some really good information. And last thing, I'll drop it to my main man Wig before I close it out. You got anything you want to go ahead and add for the people, Wig, or just in general?
Shit. God rest in peace to Nate Dogg. Smoke weed every day. I don't know. You caught me off guard, man.
Shout out that, man. We always need a little smile in it, man. We always need a little smile. So it's always a smile.
And as Sporting Goods podcast, we always give you some updates on some sports. Can't leave it out. John Wall is now officially a Los Angeles Clipper. Does that sway the teeters of the championship next year? Do you still see the Warriors as a running back candidate? Or you gonna give LeBron?
We'll see, man. So what we'll do, man, hold that thought, man. We'll have it on tomorrow's section of Sporting Goods Podcast, man. Get your thoughts up. We'll be back in for it.
Don't forget, like, share, comment. Also, don't forget how drop the link and let everybody know the link will be in the description down below where you guys can get that, like I was saying, from the book that we're reading from today. You get your mindset book, you get your personal credit book, and you get your business credit PDF, all in that link that Howard will be dropping in the link below. And all of the products is totally, absolutely for free. But if you guys want to check out my personal library from that link as well, you can see any other platform that I'm personally on. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Each one teach one. And y'all keep God first in all your endeavors, and then it will work out for success.
100%, man. And that's another round of Sporting Good Podcast. See you later. Make sure you like, share, comment, and share the video. See you next Tuesday for this episode of Bill and Credit. Catch us this week, Wednesday, for some sports analysts. See John Wall, my main man Double Trap. Main Double Trap going to be leading the segment. And look in for Friday. We got my main man, my other brother, my big brother, Minister Harold Hinton. He'll be on this Friday. So make sure you guys tune in. He's going to be talking about his books that he wrote and a couple other subjects. Until then, pieces, guys.
Peace.